Hello, and welcome to BTFO. Today we're going to be talking about Shelby Oaks, Chris Stuckman's new film, or his directorial debut. Is that what you'd call it? I mean, he's made short films before, but as far as I'm aware, this is his first theatrically released film. And it's alright. I don't know that I'd really recommend it. It strikes me as very Chris Stuckman in a way. Where it's got a lot of potential, but it's executed in like a particularly bland sort of way. Where I guess so we start off the film with a prelude it's like a mockumentary style, where we learn that like in 2008 there was this YouTube ghost show and the four hosts all like disappeared at the same time, and then they eventually found 3 of their bodies, but Riley was not found among the dead. And then we cut to what is no, I guess it's not present day. It would have to be 2020. And this is one of my issues, they only tell us like near the very end of the movie that it's been 12 years since that all happened. So yeah, it would have to be 2020. So we're not even in present day, we're still back in time. So yeah, that's such a weird, I wonder why it's 2020 specifically. But because that's something that I do wish the film told us, because there's like one scene where our main character Mia, Riley's sister, near the end of the film, she ends up pulling out her smartphone and sending a text. And so that lets you know that, like, oh, okay, it's not 2008 anymore. But other than that, just about anything that they have said would let you believe that, like, oh yeah, it is still 2008. Like, none of the technology they're using is, like, drastically different from anything they would have been using in 2008, up until the point that she pulls out her smartphone. Which, I don't know, is a little irritating, because, like, they even have scenes earlier in the film where she's looking stuff up, like, where she could be, like, writing notes on her phone. She instead has, like, a pencil and paper, and, like, when she's looking stuff up, it's on, like, a desktop computer or, like, a MacBook, and it's like, oh, okay, so, again, like, you know, I don't know, maybe that specific MacBook model was made later than 2008, but it's like, I could buy that if this is 2008, like, you know, I could buy someone has that. But, like, I don't know, it would help a bit with the story to know going all the way through that you're in 2020 in the present. But it's kind of odd because the mockumentary part of the film is kind of interesting, and like I like a lot of the way that this film is shot. Like, it is particularly good when it comes to cinematography, even including the sort of found footage bits. Like, they're neat. I will say that one criticism I could levy towards the cinematography is that there are a lot of shots that under a different filmmaker would feel very purposeful, but under Chris Stuckman, I think he just did it because it's rule of thirds. But there are a lot of shots where you'll have like Mia on one side of the frame, and then on the other side of the frame is like a window or a reflection, or something that, if you looked hard enough you might see something spooky, but that's just not the case. Like, every time there's nothing there. It's kind of annoying, even that, like, the opening shot of the film is like found footage shot of River in this room. Like, she's hearing a bunch of noise happening in a different room, and she's sitting on one side of the frame, or on the left side of the frame, and then on the right side of the frame there's this window, and like she goes and opens the door, and then that's where that footage ends. And near the end of the prelude, so we're like 15 minutes into the movie, they go, oh, but actually here's this other shot that is the exact same shot, but it's from like 30 seconds earlier. Like, she goes and opens the door, and like there's this face in the window, and it's like, man, it would have been really cool if you could see that from the opening shot of the movie, and then 15 minutes later, after you've given like all this exposition to your audience, to be like, hey, by the way, for those of you who didn't spot it the first time, like, here's this spooky detail. Like, that would be nice, rather than being like, yeah, you didn't spot it because it wasn't there. Like, this is actually just different footage. It's like, oh, okay. Like, it's like, I don't know, it just, like, I'm an adult, it would be nice to treat me that way, rather than being like, oh, no, don't worry, like, I didn't show you this earlier. Like, that's why you didn't see it, because it wasn't there. And, like, they do that several times throughout the movie, where it's like, oh, yeah, like, did you notice this face? And it's like, no, because it wasn't there. Like, this is a different shot. Like, this is different footage. Like, why would you do that? But, and, like, there's one shot that kind of annoys the hell out of me, because it's Mia is like watching one of the tapes, and we can see her on the left side of the frame, and then through the window we can see this like blurry, like, white ghost face, but that's just not anything like that. Like, the demon in this is like pure black, like tar black, and so it's like, oh, so that just wasn't anything. Like, that probably was unintentional. It's like, that's kind of lame. Like, you could have made it intentional, but yeah, so basically they go over all this footage explaining that River disappeared. Basically, that's the gist of it. And then like, Mia goes and answers the door, and there's this guy there, and he offs himself in front of her. And then he's got another tape in his hand. And he, I guess before he died, he says, she finally let me go. And then, like, he goes and, or she hides the tape, which it's like, I don't really know how she would have gotten that close to the body to grab the tape off of him, like, hide it. And it's a little annoying where we're supposed to believe that just throughout the whole day, nobody offered at any point to wipe the blood off of her face. That, like, nah, she's just chill with, like, all this blood on her face. And it's like, oh, okay. But basically then that leads her into or the tape that he had basically showed him like murdering the other 3 people and kidnapping River, the guy that offed himself at her front door. And so then she goes to like investigate him, and she finds out that he lived in Shelby Oaks, the town they were investigating. And I guess it's a ghost town or whatever, which feels a little weird because they're like, yeah, it's been a ghost town since the late 90s. And it's like, oh, so it wasn't even like 10 years abandoned when they decided to go filming it as like, ooh, a ghost town. And I was like, okay, like, I mean, yeah, I guess that's possible. It just feels a little weird. But then she finds out that like he went to prison, and when he was in prison there were like riots and stuff, and but he never participated in the riots. They just all sort of happened around him. And then she finds out that like the dates that he was like alive aligned with like when Riley would have night terrors, and then her night terror stopped when he went to prison. And then like as soon as he got out of prison, basically, which is a little weird because that implies that the prison was open and like still fully functioning while the town was like a ghost town, which it's like, yeah, I guess that can happen. It just seems a little odd. Though I don't know, because they mentioned that like Riley and her ghost team, they went and filmed an episode at the prison, and it's like, oh, so the prison, they just, I guess they shut it down in 2007, and then immediately the ghost crew was like, okay, let's go film an episode in there. And like, I guess they do say that that was just 3 weeks before she disappeared, so I guess that lines up timeline wise. It just seems a little convenient that it's like, really, a year after, like maybe not even a year after the prison closes, like they're like already going in and filming ghost shit in there. It's like, oh, okay. But so basically she learns all this and decides that very night, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to the prison and like investigate. And it's like, oh, okay, why is she, like, why is she going in the middle of the night? Is this not something that could wait until the morning? Like, does she think the prison is just gonna be destroyed by the morning? Like, and then, also she goes by herself, and she only takes one flashlight with her, even though she has 2. She only takes the one with her into the prison. And like she goes in and she finds the guy's cell, and inside there is like their initials that they would carve into a tree to find each other. And I think there's also I forget what it said. I think it was like the name of the demon or something. But like that's carved in on the wall, and it's like already like that stuff that, I mean, I guess it's been 12 years and this was like widely publicized, so maybe there's a good chance that the cops would tell her that like it could have just been some kids that like did that to be mean or something. But it still feels like the kind of thing where it's like, no, I think you should go to the cops with that, probably. Be like, that's weird, no one should know to put that there. But then, like, then she gets a visit from a hellhound, and like, straight up sees the demon. Then it's like, I gotta run out of the prison, because it's really light outside, even though it's like the middle of the night, but it's okay because my flashlight doesn't work anymore, so luckily it's bright enough that I can just run through the prison. So she runs out to her truck, and then for some reason, instead of deciding to go home, or like to a hotel or something, she's like, nah, I'm gonna go like even further into Shelby Oaks. Like, I'm gonna go to the amusement park. And so she goes there, and then she ends up like seeing the Hellhound again, and this time she decides to follow the Hellhound, and she goes and finds this like trailer home, and which I don't know, I think is really weird because at least from the outside it doesn't look like it has an upstairs, but like from the inside it is a 3-story home, and I was like, oh, okay, like it has a basement and an upstairs. But like she follows this old lady in, is like talking with this old lady, and she's like, oh, I live with my son. Turns around and, oh, the son is the crazy guy that offed himself at her front door. And then she finds a photo album of the crazy guy and her sister burying children. Like, it shows repeatedly that, like, oh yeah, she kept getting pregnant, and then like they kept killing the children outside and like burying them. And so then she's like, hey, old lady, like, where's my sister? Not cool. And then the old lady's like, yeah, just follow me down into the basement. And she's like, oh, okay. And just walks down there, and it's like, no, I'm sorry. Like, she does send a text to someone to be like, hey, like, turn on Find My Phone and like call the police, send them to my location. Which is a little weird because they never actually show the police go to that location. But like, then she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna walk down into the basement. And like, the old lady just disappears. Which is like, what the hell? Like, where did she go? And, but luckily she left the key up, and so she like takes the key and breaks her sister out, and then Riley and Mia, they go upstairs. The old lady is like being followed by the demon, and they're like, oh, that's spooky. And so then like they go to leave, and then they start hearing a baby's cry. And so Riley's like, nah, I need to go upstairs. Like, I need to take care of that baby. And then Mia ends up following her. And they get upstairs, and the baby is like clearly on this altar. And the old lady is like trying to do like a demonic chant. And Riley tries to stop it. And the old lady uses the force to like pick Riley up and throw her back down on the ground. And then Mia just sort of stands there while the old lady like slits her wrist on top of the baby and finishes her satanic chant, and then like dies on the floor. And then I guess the cops came, and they got the 3 of them, Mia, Riley, and the baby, and they took them to the hospital. And it's like they show Riley in the hospital, like looking over at the baby crying, like looking horrified. And so it's like, at this point, yeah, everyone should know, including Mia especially, that like, yeah, what do you think she did? Like, that's obviously like a Satan spawn, or like she put the demon in that baby. Like, yeah, sorry, that baby has to go. Like, you know, everyone should know that. But the film continues on for like another 5 minutes with Mia being like, oh, everything's great. Like, now I have my sister back and I have a baby. Like, oh, I got everything I wanted. Like, isn't life so perfect? And it's like, what are we doing? Like, we all know as an audience what's going on. Like, and then like they have the documentary crew leaves, and everything is like back to normal. But the baby is in the same room as River, and so River decides to get up, and for some reason she's like, okay, I need to kill this baby. Let me smother it to death with a pillow. And it's like, man, I know this is like a bit uncomfortable, but like there almost any other way that Riley could have chosen, she would have killed that baby faster. Like, you know, it's like I get that Chris Stuckman wants his movie to happen, and in order for that to happen, like, she has to pick a way to kill the baby that isn't extremely fast, and like it does get her noticed. So smothering happens to be like the way to do that, even though it's like, no, sorry, but like in reality, that baby is dead before Mia like gets upstairs. Like that's, you know, like but then like Mia sees this about to happen, and she's like, no, Riley, like you can't kill that baby. And even though it's like, what, like, Mia, you know what this is, like you have to know that like this is fucking Satan spawn, like we have to get rid of it. And but then they get in a fight, and Riley goes through the second story window and falls down, and then 3 hellhounds come and rip her apart. And so then like they show that like the baby is safe and alive, and then Mia gets the demon behind her, and they like show off the full demon, which is a choice I wouldn't have made. Like, sorry, but this is a case of like, no, like you should have kept that in shadow. Like, you know, I actually think the shot would be a lot better if you just saw like the demon smile its eyes, and then its hand comes out from the shadows to go on Mia's shoulder. Like, I think that would have looked way better than what they did, which is just this like tar black person with kind of a dog head and a big smile. I was like, oh, yeah, that doesn't look great. And then they have Mia scream, too, which, to me, I found really annoying, because it's like, if you had her smile, then that would be a case of, oh, like, the demon at some point, like, possessed her, or, you know, convinced her that, like, hey, you want a child, I can give you that. Like, you know, you just have to raise this child. Like, that would have been a neat little twist to, you know, try and justify how retarded Mia's been for, like, the rest of the third act. But no, Mia was just retarded the whole time. She just, for some reason, even though she had all the evidence in the world, didn't understand that this was a demon baby. So then she's like horrified at the end of like, oh no, the demon won. And that's it. That's Shelby Oaks. And it's like, oh, yeah, Chris, sorry, but like I think there's a lot of promise there. You know, I would be interested in seeing what Chris makes next, but it's like I think there's a lot of improvement that could be had. I honestly think the film would have benefited from like going full mockumentary and having the documentary crew follow Mia as she goes on this investigation to try and figure out like where her sister is. It would have been nice to know throughout the whole movie that the present day stuff took place in 2020, 12 years after all that happened, because like at one point her husband, Mia's husband, asks her like, why didn't you turn over the tape to the cops? And she goes, oh well, because if they saw this, then, you know, they'd just like, they'd stop looking for her. And it's like, that's something that makes sense to say in 2008. 12 years after it happened, it's like, no, they have stopped looking for her. Like, they just have. Like, sorry, but that's one of those things where it's like a missing persons case really doesn't go on for 12 years. Like, I could buy maybe 3 years out. But 12? It's like, I really have a hard time believing that, like, oh yeah, there's still an active investigation. Like, it's like, no, it's like, it might be on the back burner, like, I could buy that maybe they haven't fully closed it out, but it's like, I really don't believe that, like, yeah, they're still looking for her. It's like, no, they're not. Like, it's been 12 years. Like, the odds that she's dead are pretty fucking high at that point. But yeah, so I guess as far as Chris Stuckman's first feature film, it's okay. I wouldn't call it great. I wouldn't call it bad. As much as I think that there are a lot of things that could be improved on, and that third act especially suffers from a lot of bad writing, I think overall it's a mid movie. So I wouldn't recommend it. But if you want to see it, that's totally fine. I don't really think it's going to be a waste of your time. I just think you could spend your time better, I guess. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and bye.